So let's see. This is hard, but the reason I brought you back from class is that we have to think a little more about, and I think we have to report your ex-boyfriend about y'all's relationship. Because with him being 10 years older than you, and y'all's relationship having started a few years back, that's a crime. At least I believe it is.
You mean like a report, like to the police?
We'll call Child Protective Services, and they will involve the police, yes. That's hard for you to hear. I know.
It just seems like it's going to be a big deal now, an even bigger deal if the police knows.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's like why I hadn't told anyone.
Because you didn't want it to be a big deal like this.
Yeah.
This is really hard. It's part of what you were dreading.
Yeah, I don't want everybody to know everything that happened, and like I don't know what he's gonna do. Like if he knows I call the police. And I mean, it wasn't even like, it's not like I didn't agree to be with him. He didn't force me.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're kind of, two things. One is you're a little worried about what he might do. Meaning, I wasn't sure what you meant. Like
I don't know, like he's probably going to be really angry. And like, what if, I don't know, I've heard of some people that go through all this and then nothing happens and then he's still going to be angry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if he's like going to like want to like, I don't know, just like be mad at me and like try to get back at me for doing that.
Well, so that's part of your thinking, is that what's he going to do? And I wasn't sure if you meant like you thought it could be physically dangerous for you when he's angry, like he would try to hurt you, or if you just meant get back at you, like try to hurt you socially, hurt your feelings with things.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll probably just go on Facebook and just post that I like started all this, and then all of our friends are gonna find out, and like everybody's just gonna know, and then he'll probably just say, I mean, things about me. He has pictures and stuff, and
so your worry is he's going to try to humiliate you socially.
yeah.
You know him, and you're thinking that's what he might do. I don't know how much my explaining will help, but I want to try. I remember when you told me about him earlier today and how upsetting this had been to you, that one of the things you said was you were worrying yourself about being really stupid, or something like that. Like people were going to think you were stupid or something. And part of what I want you to know is the reason it becomes a legal issue is because I'm assuming the relationship for the length of time y'all were together was sexual. And the reason that's a crime is because at that time you were too young to have given consent. And so, and also remember the part you tell me about feeling like maybe he used you. One of the reasons why we have to report this is to do our part to see that he wouldn't try to have a similar relationship with another girl who's too young to decide.
If that makes sense. I don't know. I guess he should have known.
Yeah, that's partly you're thinking of it that way, and that helps you kind of rationalize it a little bit with, well, you should have known. And I agree.
So, like, what about, like, if the police is involved, then, like, my parents are going to know?
Yes, I think so. And I don't know what their role was in this before, or if he has any relationship with your family. I gather from what you're saying now that somehow they didn't know.
No, they didn't know at all. And I'm just going to have to deal with them. And it's just going to be a mess.
So they didn't know of y'all's relationship. Do they know him? Do they know who he is? Not that either.
No. Like, I had to sneak out.
Right. So you were trying to keep it from them.
Yeah, they'll be pissed.
So when you're thinking through how are they going to react, you're thinking that's going to be their primary reaction. They're being pissed at you.
Yeah, but it's not like they gave a crap before, so.
So kind of like you're thinking, well, they might be pissed, but some of that's on them because in at least some ways they didn't seem to care. They didn't seem to give a crap before.
Mm.
So it's hard and you're dreading it, but you're kind of okay with that.
I mean, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice, do I?
I'm sorry, but no. Neither of us. Well, really, I don't have a choice. And what I hope to do is, I consulted with Child Protective Services earlier. I think when we met last, I knew what we had to do, but I didn't want to do it, so I didn't want to admit to myself. So I let you go back to class, partly because we're out of time, and I did have another student waiting. But then as soon as I got the chance, I called Child Protective Services, and I didn't give them any of your information. I have to, but I didn't then just because I felt like the most respectful thing to do was to bring you back and tell you first. And so what I have in mind is, let's just call them together. You can be on the phone with them while we're together. As long as you want me here, I'd rather just stay with you. You speak freely with them, answer their questions. They're going to ask you some of the particulars of the relationship, time, age, these things. Maybe some other questions that I haven't thought of because it's a different job than mine. They're going to ask for his identifying information. And then if you would like, and it sounds to me like it'd be a good idea, after we finish that call, we can also call your parents if you want me to be a part of your telling them. For child, I've got a phone here that we can use for the Child Protective Services call. What I think I'll do is I'll talk to them on speakerphone because I want you to be able to hear what I'm saying. And then in case you're more comfortable talking to them without speakerphone, because I'm suggesting I be with you for support, but you can have as much privacy with it as you want. And I'll just look for you to tell me what you want. So I think, when they ask to talk to you, I'll just cut it off speakerphone, hand it to you, and you can talk with them. If it's just too awkward and you want me to give you time of privacy to talk with them without me here, I can do that. If you want me to stay, then that's fine too. Then after that first really difficult step is done, then we'll stop and have a minute to talk. And if you're ready and you want me to be with you when we contact your parents, we can call them. If you want to be the first to tell them what's going on, you can. If you want me to be the first to tell them what's going on, I'm glad to. So we're ready.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, if we have to, I guess you're saying. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get Child Protective Services on the phone. So you did it. It looked like that was pretty hard, but you did it.
Yeah, like nobody knew about any of this. It's just like, I don't know what all they're going to tell my parents of. My parents are going to flip. Like, they don't even know. Like, I was hanging out with a guy.
Yeah, it's going to be a surprise to your parents for knowing that part.
Yeah.
So it sounded like the person that you talked with Child Protective Services was going to give you some time now that you can call your parents first. Do you want us to go ahead and do that now? Do you want us to do that together?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, maybe, like, at least if you're here, maybe they'll keep them from just getting too ridiculous about this.
Yeah, maybe if it comes from me. So you want me to tell them first?
Yeah, I think I'll call him and just, no, you call him. You just tell him that we had to call. I'm sure they'll want to talk to me at some point, but I mean, if I call them, they're not going to, I think they'll know it's a big deal if you call.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'll be a school number, so they'll probably see that first, but you're thinking it'd be helpful if at least you're talking to them first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wasn't sure what you wanted there. I'm not meaning to push it anyway. I just want to do what I can to make this not harder on you than it has to be. So after you call them and, who will we call?
Guess I'll call my mom.
So after you call her, I gather maybe you're calling her because of y'all's relationship, or maybe you're just calling her because you figure we can get her on the phone.
Probably because my dad will just, he's he is too busy, and then he'll just be bothered that we called, and then he's gonna just be extra angry.
So you're thinking his reaction is going to be busy, bothered, and angry.
Yeah.
And your mom might have a different reaction.
Yeah. I mean, she's gonna be angry too, but maybe less than him.
Maybe not as angry. So you call her, and then hopefully you can get her on the phone. And if you want to handle it this way, it's fine with me. You could just say that, you know, you're here at school with me, one of the counselors, and if you want me to tell her, then you can say he has something he needs to tell you. If you want to tell her, I'm certainly fine with that too.
Yeah, I think I'll tell her, and then if she gets too crazy, at least if you're here, then maybe I can tell her to talk to you.
Yeah, and you've seen phones like this. The button for a speakerphone will be down there on the bottom left if you want to change it that way. Or I just want you to have as much control of the situation as you can in those little ways. Well, if you will, then go ahead and call her, and let's get that next difficult step taken care of. So, Lucia, I'm knowing that was difficult. And it sounds like she was going to tell your dad, and I'm thinking she didn't exactly react the way you were expecting.
Oh, I guess I was thinking. She was gonna yell. I don't know, she was kind of sad. I mean, I don't know what's coming when I go back home, but oh no, I had, like, I don't know, it's weird that she got so emotional.
And you get the idea that almost hurt worse than if she'd been mad. That she was sad, emotional about it.
Yeah, I guess it's just like another way that I've disappointed them. You know, like they already weren't very happy with me, so.
Yeah, you already felt kind of left out in all the chaos swirling around in the family. I'm real hesitant to disagree with you, especially at such a difficult time, but I have to tell you, part of my hearing your mom and talking to her was, I kind of thought she was disappointed in herself.
Yeah, maybe. She's probably feeling like a bad mother, which, I mean, she's not always, but it's not like they really seem to care much, so.
Yeah, I get the idea you're really trying not to say anything critical about her,
Yeah.
but because I gather you're just really wanting to be respectful. But it sounds like for you the criticism's kind of right underneath the surface. You're hesitating to say it, but kind of going, well, but.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. They're not the best parents. I mean, they're always doing their own thing, and it's like they don't see me or, that I have issues either. And so, they expect all these things, but I feel bad too because, I mean, she sounded like she felt really bad.
And I think you're seeing her feeling bad as like your fault, your responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like the worst thing I could do to them. They're also like pretty religious, so like that's really, yeah, like that's probably the biggest way I could mess up for them.
It's like you're thinking that's, in their eyes, the worst thing you could have done.
Yeah.
Sex outside of marriage, I guess.
Yeah, with this dude they don't even know. And God, yeah, I just don't want to have to talk to them about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Do you think you can ask for that, to only talk to them about it a little bit at a time?
yeah, I'm thinking they're not going to want to probably go into it now that I think about it.
Oh.
I mean, they're going to be really weird about just talking about it overall.
So you're kind of thinking that's how they are. That's the way that's sort of the way it is, that they don't talk about things.
Yeah.
And so even with this, you think it's going to probably not be talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll get yelled at about, I mean, I don't even know. We're going to have to deal with all the court stuff, so. But yeah, we probably won't talk about details, I think.
I'm hesitant, Lucia, but I want to give you my opinion on some things. Some of what I know and my views. There's a lot that I don't know about your family yet. But just like in the law, in the eyes of law, you could not have consented at the age that your relationship started with this guy. And also, in my view, it's the parent's job to keep the child safe. You're 17 now, almost an adult. You were a child when this started. I was really hoping you wouldn't take that as me being just critical of your parents, because you seem to also care about them and wanting to protect how they feel and not disappoint them in that. But I just felt like you needed to know that part. And even if you disagree with it, you needed to know that's how I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess. I mean, I guess they need to know that. Like, I feel like they're gonna blame me for everything. But, I mean, I didn't call because I couldn't choose to call, so.
Right. So it sounds like you kind of agree with what I said, that they need. You stopped your sentence, but I gathered you were thinking they need to know. I can't know where you're going with it, but I was thinking where you were going was they need to know how things have been for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know it would end up like this that with that relationship. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, you certainly didn't know it was going to bring. We were going to end up sitting here and making this call, and it was going to go to these places.
yeah, and even like with him, like, I didn't really know what we were doing, and like, I don't know. I was like, before that, I hadn't done anything, so
Right.
and then it just kind of, we were doing stuff, so maybe if my parents had talked about stuff with me, then I would have known more, but
Yeah. So what you're saying is you didn't really know. Like, it was not like you decided, I'm going to have this relationship. It was just, it started and it was a little, and then it was a little more, and then it was a little more.
yeah.
And then you realized you were in the middle of it. Part of what occurs to me about your situation was how disconnected you and your parents must have been.
Yeah, they didn't know anything about any of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, they've never talked about anything with relationships. They just expect that, like, I would just suddenly know, get married and know everything, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if they care, then they would have paid more attention.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that you're a little bit upset with them about. One was that they didn't pay more attention, and the other was that they didn't seem to talk to you about relationships. It was just, well, you don't have sex, just you keep these boundaries and things, but there was no, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I've got to make sure that I take time. One, I'm going to want to meet with you tomorrow. And before we leave, just in case you need it, on the way out, I'll give you information on the crisis hotline. Just in case things are that difficult for you tonight, I'm not saying they're going to be. But I just want you to be prepared for to take care of yourself. So there's a crisis hotline so that you can call and consult at any time. If you're feeling really bad, or if you're just not sure how this is going and what to do, you'll be able to do that. And you also know that the woman at Child Protective Services, I noticed she gave you her number too. So you've got 2 contacts that you can make in the night. And then I want to see you tomorrow. I very much want to know how this goes for you. So I'll look for you in the morning, first thing, for us to find some time to talk and see how you're doing. When we started our conversation earlier today, we had talked about your teacher being worried about your safety. And you assured me that you didn't really have any, you thought about being gone sometimes, meaning maybe even being dead, but that you didn't have a thought of hurting yourself, of suicide, that you had never thought about how that would go.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's still true of you.
Yeah.
And that you had done some cutting. I remember you showed me where it had been on your arm, and it didn't look like it. It's always worrisome to me when a person has done that, and it happens, but then it makes me worry, how far it might go. And I got the idea and was confident this morning that it hadn't gone too far. And you were also telling me, well, it didn't really help. So I wanted to check and be sure.
Yeah, it didn't help, and I don't think it's my thing, really.
Maybe this was an idea of other people and not really something that fit for you.
Yeah.
So it sounds like I don't have those things to worry about for you tonight.
No, I'm going to be too busy dealing with them anyway, so.
Yeah, you're thinking it's going to be a night of kind of like uproar and that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one other question. If you are by yourself and you just have the time, probably have a mix of feelings. You got any ideas of what you can do? Maybe things you do at times that help you when your feelings are hard to feel all those things. Like I'm thinking of like writing, because I know that you've written from grade writing class. There's writing. There's maybe other art or things.
Yeah, that's what I do. I usually just get into the writing because it kind of like helps me get the stuff out. Just won't show it to my teachers, I guess.
Yeah, because that's how this started. But you know that it does help you get some of the feelings out, and
yeah, and I listen to music too. Sometimes I just like blast music, and it just kind of gets me like.
Sometimes music loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, get into the writing. So it made me kind of thinking like, almost like it takes you out of all the stuff you're going through and puts you focused in what you're writing.
Yeah, that helps.
Okay. I just wanted to check because I was thinking of what you're going to be going through tonight, and I was thinking I wanted to know that you have at least some tools there that you can have to help get through the difficult night.
Yeah.
So we'll stop there today, and I'll see you in the morning. Would you like me to walk back to class with you, or
I think I'm good.
we'll stop there, Lucia?